Good morning, beautiful people, and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, my name is Shreeze. Okay. I wanted to talk a little bit about something. Surprise, surprise. Just want to talk a little bit about something. And I feel like I should just start off my videos that are around, like, my thoughts and current beliefs. And I say current beliefs because they are constantly transforming. But I feel like I should just start off these videos with, like, hey, I could be talking out of my ass, because some people can be really kind of aggressive with their comments or really insulted and triggered. I've realized that I just gotta let people process things in the way that they're gonna process things. But I just want to start this video off by saying that I could be completely wrong about everything that I'm talking about in this. Moving forward, I honestly think that the whole, like, laws of the universe and rules for manifestation and all of those can actually be limiting beliefs in themselves. Maybe, guys, maybe I just have not reached a point where I fully understand and can incorporate those beliefs. Perhaps that is it. But I honestly think that the universe is so much more expansive and limitless that these man-made laws and rules can actually be very limiting. And I know that there are probably some people who are going to argue, this is physics, Sharice. It's science. It's fact and it's proof. And my dispute with that, and I wouldn't necessarily just call it a dispute, but okay, I guess it's fucking a dispute. My dispute with that is that science is proven and disproven all the time. It is constantly shifting and changing. What we know and understand as humans is constantly shifting and changing and transforming. So, to hold these current beliefs and knowings as absolute truth, and I know some of you might even argue, this is ancient, Sharice. This is ancient. Okay. That's fine. A lot of ancient beliefs are actually very limiting as well. A lot of ancient religions are very limiting. I think it's similar to Christianity. I'm going to use this example. I honestly think that a lot of that, the laws of manifestation and the laws of the universe and all of that stuff, while I do definitely think there is a lot of truth in it, absolutely, guys, I am not just disputing all of that as a whole. I think, yes, there is a lot of truth in all of that, and it is so beautiful. But I think at times it can be a little bit culty as well, where it is just taken as absolute truth. And if you don't live by that, basically you won't succeed in life. Like I said, it's just very limiting. And so, from my own personal experience, guys, I'll tell you a little bit about my history. I grew up as a Pentecostal missionary kid in Japan. So I grew up very, very deep in the church. I moved to America when I was about 8 years old, and I stayed a very devout Christian. I went to Bible college for like 3 years. I went to Bible college for 3 years during my last 3 years of high school. I've read the Bible too many times to count. I studied theology, and I ended up leaving the church when I was 18 because some stuff just didn't add up. It didn't. And I think that one of those is kind of the belief that if you don't accept Jesus into your heart, kind of a thing, accept him as your Lord and Savior, that you're going to burn in hell. And one really big question that I started asking the more that I was studying the Bible was, what about the people who don't know about the Bible and the teachings of Jesus and a bunch of writings that the church decided to put together and say was God's word? I'm not saying it's not God's word. I don't fucking know But back to this belief on people will burn in hell if they don't know. I started asking, what about the people who don't know? And it's like, oh, well, that's why there's missionaries and stuff, so they can go into the world and spread the gospel. Okay, well, what about the people who have already died not knowing? Do you mean that they would burn in hell? And it just didn't add up with the teachings of love. And there were so many contradictions around this that I started to be like, the only way that this could be true is if reincarnation is true. If these people in other countries are given another chance, because God wouldn't just create people to have them burn in hell just because they didn't know about Jesus, right? So that was kind of where this started for me, exploring that. And then I couldn't agree with a lot with the church and the teachings and the beliefs, so I ended up leaving. And I think that I'm noticing a lot of that in the manifestation community. It is a spiritual community. It is, honestly, and some people will call it New Age, some people will call it Old Age, some people will call it Buddhism. And there's so many terms, it's kind of like a massive cult. And I just want you to know that when I say that term, I do not say it in a negative way, because I also believe that Christianity is a cult. And I feel, that's going to trigger some people out there. That is for sure, because Christians, anybody in their religion thinks that is the absolute truth, that their religion is the absolute truth. And some people be like, oh, well, a cult is where the leader is still alive. Well, you go to church, right? You have a leader in that church. Your leader is still alive. Just because you read a book that was written by dead people doesn't mean that your leader is not a living person. There is somebody else out there interpreting the scriptures for you in most cases. Sometimes you're your own leader. Sometimes you're the person doing it. So I'm not going to go deep into my beliefs on religion and cults and all that, but I think a lot of things, a lot of beliefs, a lot of groupings of people that come together and all believe the same thing is kind of culty. And like I said, I don't think that that's a bad thing. I don't think that cults are necessarily a bad thing. And I think that there are a lot of truths in cults. I think that that's kind of where cults and religions start, is because your spirit senses truth and it feels like it's aligning in you, and you feel a connection with God and the universe and spirit, and so you kind of decide to incorporate those beliefs into yourself. It's super cool. It's not a bad thing, as long as you are not being harmful to other people, which a lot of religions have been very harmful to actually massive groups of people for a really long time now, but also not gonna go into that. Anyway, I see a lot of this kind of church, this behavior that I grew up in the Christian church, in the manifestation community. And maybe because I just turned away from that aspect of my life because of how much it did not sit right in my soul, the way that people were being treated because of Christians' beliefs towards them and other people and the world, that when I notice this in the manifestation community, I kind of get the same. It feels kind of the same a lot of the times. And I'm not saying it's not truth, guys. Not saying it's not truth. Like I said, I could be talking out of my ass and I could just not have a deep enough level of understanding of all of these things. But I think that when you bring something up and say, this is the absolute truth, and if you don't live by this, you won't succeed, and I have all the answers for you, it can be a little bit scammy. It can be a little bit scammy, and like I said, guys, scams oftentimes are based in little truths, and sometimes really big truths. And I'm not saying that manifestation is a scam. I believe in manifestation. I am constantly manifesting little things. Like the other day, I just for 2 days was just randomly thinking of a little wooden clothing clip, and then The next day, look what I found on the ground. Just a single wooden clothing clip. So guys, I believe in the power of the mind. I believe in the power of manifestation. And I totally believe in the laws of the universe. I believe in them. And I just want to say that as well. Maybe I should have started off with that in the beginning of this video. But I believe in these concepts and things, but I also think that there is more. I think that there is a lot more. I think that what I've noticed the most of in the spiritual and manifestation community, or if you want to call it the new age community, I don't, whatever you want to call it, because there's a lot of, it's kind of like, honestly, I feel like spirituality, whether you are part of a religion or a cult or just this kind of, you feel deeply connected to the spiritual, whatever it is, it's kind of just like there are a billion different doctrines, all stemming from truth, some form of truth, and everybody kind of believes to some extent similar kinds of things that are different though. And that doesn't mean that everybody is wrong. Maybe everybody is right. I don't know, guys. There is so much I don't know, and there's so much I don't understand. I'm not one of those people, at least now, who knows? Who knows what's going to change in my life down the road? But I'm not one of those people who can sit here with a whiteboard and be like, this is how it works. Like, with manifestation and spirituality and all of these concepts. But I will tell you this, what I have noticed a lot in the spiritual community is that it can be a little bit belittling to people who do not understand and grasp all of these concepts, and to people who don't have their shit together. There's also a lot of toxic positivity, which I have been talking a lot about recently. Well, I think I've been talking about toxic positivity since the very beginning, when I made a video about positive affirmations and toxic positivity, and the power of positive affirmations in my life, but also kind of a contradicting side of that has to do with toxic positivity. I will put a link in the description if you do want to check that out. That was actually one of the first videos I created like a year and a half ago. I just think that a lot of times when people are trying to think outside of the box and break free of the box, they break free of the box that they're in and put themselves in a new box. And I also don't think that there is anything wrong with this, because I think that this is kind of how, I don't know if it's all humans or just a lot of humans seem to be like this, where it makes us comfortable to have definitions, to have defined sides, to have a true understanding of what things are. It makes us feel safe. It makes us feel like we have control. So a lot of times when you think that you've broken out of a box, you just are creating for yourself a different colored box. And I think that the problem that comes with this, because I don't think it's always a problem, I just think it's maybe a part of being human, and it's kind of in our nature to need that. Maybe that's something that certain people are aiming to grow out of. Maybe, like, I don't think that there is a defined purpose for everybody, and I honestly believe that whatever you choose to do with your life, whatever you focus on and create or just live, that's your purpose. Anything can be your purpose. So perhaps for some people, they feel that part of their purpose is completely breaking out of boxes and just not. And maybe for some people, their purpose is just getting to know a bunch of different boxes. It's not a bad thing. But like I wanted to say, I think the problem that comes with this is when you look at other people and say, my box is the right box. And if you do not formulate yourself to fit into my box and understand the box that I'm in, then you are living wrong. And I must tell you that you are living wrong. just doesn't really sit right in me. It just doesn't sit right in me, y'all. I notice a lot of people, and I've been that person in this, like, when you're learning about manifestation and how to create and co-create your reality with the universe, with spirit, with God, whatever you want to call it, when you are learning how to consciously create, because we are constantly creating, even before we become self-aware or go through spiritual awakening, which I do also believe in, y'all. I think that honestly, we are in a constant state of spiritual awakening. And I think, honestly, sometimes we are going through spiritual awakenings before that big spiritual awakening. I would say that I had a massive spiritual awakening when I was about like 24 or 25. And I genuinely believe in spiritual awakening because I just went through a period of my life where every belief, I just was completely transformed, and I've been on a intense healing journey since then. I would also consider that main spiritual awakening was the beginning of my actual healing journey, because I think that my life was kind of going downhill. I was in a dark place for a long time since I was a little girl, and I was just in a really long, like 15 years of darkness. And some stuff happened in my life, and you could call it, I woke up and my whole life transformed. But I'm not going to go into my spiritual awakening right now. If you'd like, you can go back and watch that actually positive affirmations and toxic positivity video. I actually talk a lot about that. So anyway, all over the place. I think a lot of people in the spiritual community can be very discouraged when the things that they're learning about, the teachings, all the self-help books, all the books on manifestation, how to succeed, how to be your own boss, sometimes all of that doesn't seem to work. And what do you do then? What do you do when you're doing everything that everybody else is telling you to do, and you don't find the success that you want, and you don't find quick success? Because a lot of these people who are teaching from the perspective of, like, it just, like, they're young and they're so successful so fast in life. And I think especially towards maybe older people, this can be very discouraging to be like, I've gone so much of my life trying or not trying, and it's just, why am I still fucked up? Why do I still experience depression and anxiety? Why am I still sick? First of all, I think that there are a lot of things in life that just happen outside of our control. I think that the belief that everything is just in your mind and everything is just because of yourself is actually kind of an abusive belief. I think that in some ways people try to use that to have people take responsibility of their thoughts and their mindsets and their emotions and what they're creating in life. But there are some beautiful people who have worked a lot on themselves and have an immense amount of control over their minds and their emotions. And sometimes bad things still happen to them, and you sitting there and being like, well, it's your own fault, you're in your own head, maybe you should fix your mind, is actually very belittling, and it's not encouraging. It's honestly, most of the time, I would say from my own personal experience, is not helpful. It's just very belittling. And I feel like there needs to be more, and maybe I'm starting this, or maybe because I'm doing this and feeling this, there are a lot more people who are as well. I honestly think that is probably the case, because I do believe in unity consciousness. I'm not saying we all think the same exact thing, but I think that when one person is making a move, there's a lot of other people who are shifting in that as well. And there's nothing wrong with the people who aren't shifting in that direction. It just means that you're shifting different ways. You're moving different ways in life. You believe different things. It's okay. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that I hope that you know that if you are trying to create the life of your dreams and you feel discouraged because everything keeps falling apart and you don't know how, what is the right choice? What if nothing you do is the right choice? What if, like, life is just beating the fuck out of you? That you still deserve good things. You still deserve the life of your dreams, even if you think negative thoughts and have limiting beliefs. There is a part of creating that I believe is massively about surrender and making peace with the parts of yourself that you don't like. Self-acceptance for not being perfect. Because I believe that things in life happen at their own time and rate. And I don't know, some people, maybe their timing is just more fast moving. That's what it looks like to us, at least. And other people, like maybe even myself, it could look much more slow moving. Maybe that's you. Maybe that's what you relate to. Maybe you're in a period of darkness. And I've been there where I am terrified of the universe punishing me for having a bad thought, for not having perfect control over my mind, for having limiting beliefs, for not being perfect, for not being completely healed. I get afraid that the universe is going to punish me. The God is going to punish me for not being perfect, and that because I don't have all my shit together, because I still think and say negative things at times, that I can't have the things that I want because I'm not perfect. But that's not true. That's not true. Good things still happen for me. My dreams still come true. I made a video about this recently about how I am living in the dream that I'd given up on. I'm living on a homestead in Arizona, and it wasn't necessarily, my dream wasn't Arizona. It was actually in Northern California, to be living in this lifestyle in a community that loves and respects and appreciates me and doesn't push me further than I can go, and that has an understanding and gives me space and love for being imperfect and having mental health issues and struggling with anxiety and depression when it rises up. I've wanted this for a long time, and I'd given up on it. I didn't think that it was going to happen for me, guys. And I talk about this in the video. You can check it out if you like. I'll put a link in the description to it. Good things can happen to even the most negative people in life. And I've seen this. I've literally seen some negative ass people manifest everything that they wanted. And they didn't believe in it. They talked negative. They thought negative. They were discouraged when everything else fell through, and then all of a sudden, it all lined up for them. And they were shocked. It's not like they were just like, oh yeah, I'm so grateful. They were still kind of just like, what? Like, yeah, I like it, but still kind of in that negative mental state. And it's like, what? You mean that I don't have to be perfect to have the life of my dreams? You mean that the things that I want can happen even if I constantly find myself still struggling with negative thoughts and beliefs and patterns? Yeah. This is the aspect to me, I think, of surrender, and I think that this would be the aspect of being like, it's not just you. I honestly, and like I said, maybe I just don't understand all of this, and maybe my beliefs are still just, maybe I will change my mind about these things that I'm thinking, or have a deeper sense of understanding of all of that. But I don't really use the term God anymore. I do. When I'm talking to certain people, I usually use the term the universe or spirit. I really love spirit because it's kind of like my middle ground between God and universe. I genuinely believe that there is something greater out there than just us. With our little minds and our box beliefs, there is so much more that we don't understand. And it's a big reason I honestly don't really agree with most religions, is because most religions want to claim and put God into a box and say this is what God is. And if it's not that, then it's not God. I think God is limitless and can't be put in a box. Spirit, the universe, is way more magical than we think it is. And while I think it is beautiful, these laws of the universe teachings, because it's just beautiful, honestly, I think that there is a beautiful aspect of taking responsibility for your thoughts and your emotions and your actions and your patterns and the things that you learn from a child and your habits and your hand-me-downs, generational, all of that. It is beautiful to take responsibility for that and have an awareness of how you're creating and how you're interacting with the world around you and other people and how you're creating with yourself, because you are the person that you have to live with the most. So it's good to learn these things about yourself and try to create a positive environment for you to live in. But I think part of creating that positive environment for you to live in is accepting the parts of yourself that you can't change or just haven't been able to change yet. Or perhaps it's just not the right time. I don't know, guys. Like, you could sit there and point out everything that's still wrong with you and how that's why you don't have the things that you want or why you don't deserve love. I think that's a big one for me, is my struggle with love and romance and wanting something that never seems to happen. And sometimes I can really beat myself up and be like, it's because you don't deserve it yet. You don't deserve love yet, Sharice, because you're not perfect yet. And if love came in, you'd just ruin it. I don't think that's true, guys. And yes, sometimes I think this, but deeply, I don't think that that's true. I think that sometimes things in life happen in their own time. It's one of those things that's out of my control. And I do believe that sometimes when things happen in their own time, it tends to be even better than you expected, and maybe that's just the timing it had to happen in. A big thing in my life is about trusting the process and the divine timing of the universe. Letting go of the control. Because a lot of manifestation is around the need to control everything in your life. And some people will also disagree with this, I know. But a lot of what I've seen is teaching people how to control. And like I said, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. But I also think that in that mix, there should be more talked about the surrender aspect of creating with spirit, with the universe, and with God. The surrender aspect, where you let go of the timing, where you let the need to control everything going on in your life and how it happens go. When bad things happen in your life, it's not because you're unworthy or because you just created that bad thing in your mind. Sometimes people die of horrific ways, and sometimes those people that die are the people that you love. And you didn't just create that in your mind. And maybe some of you really think that, and to each their own, but I don't believe that. We live in an imperfect world where bad things happen. And sometimes you have to let go of that control of things that are outside of your control. That is all I really want to say in this video today. I think a lot of the spiritual community, while trying to create or while trying to release limiting beliefs, is creating a lot of limiting beliefs. and that the universe is way more expansive and limitless than any laws and rules that we as humans can create for our own comprehension. And I hope that you know that if you feel discouraged in life and like you're not doing it right and you just don't know what to do anymore, it's okay to let it go. It's okay to let it go and surrender and be like, hey, I don't know how to control everything in my life. And there's nothing wrong with me because I cannot control everything that happens all the time. Everything that happens is not my fault. I love you and I believe in you. And if you relate to this video, my guess is that you need to give yourself a lot more compassion. A lot more compassion and patience and space to be imperfect. Because you are doing the best that you can, and you are probably doing a lot better than you think you are. And I am so fucking proud of you. I am so proud of you for showing up even when it feels difficult, even if all you give is your existence, even if that's all you're able to give at the moment. I'm proud of you. I know how difficult that can be. I love you guys. And I genuinely hope that you have an absolutely amazing and beautiful day.